Hey friends, let's be honest. Sometimes silence isn't strength, it's survival. And in today's world, where everything is loud, opinions, posts, reels, likes, her silence stands out even more. You used to notice her energy, her voice, her little rants about her day. Now she just says, "I'm fine," with a smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. You think she's matured. You think she's more chilled now. But the truth is, she's scared. She's scared that speaking up might cost her everything. Because every time she opened up before, she got labeled too dramatic, too sensitive, too emotional. So now, she's silent, but inside, she's screaming. This is the version of love no one posts about. Not the cute selfies, not the anniversary captions. This is the part that never makes it to Instagram stories. The quiet tension, the held-back tears, the anxiety hidden behind perfectly edited photos. You scroll through your feed and you'll see her smiling. You'll see her dancing in a reel, posting healing quotes, re-sharing focus on yourself carousels. But you won't see the late-night overthinking. The way she rewrites her messages 5 times before sending, then deletes them altogether. The way she sits with her phone in her hand, waiting for a reply that never comes. She's not silent because she has nothing to say. She's silent because she's afraid if she says what she really feels, you'll leave. And maybe she's right to worry. In this generation, vulnerability is risky. One honest text can get you ghosted. One emotional conversation can get you blocked. So she chooses silence, not because it's safe, but because it hurts less than being misunderstood. Her silence isn't a sign that she doesn't care. It's proof that she cares too much. She tiptoes around your moods. She filters her feelings. She tells herself, maybe if I don't bother him, he'll stay. Maybe if I'm cool enough, calm enough, fun enough, he won't leave. But here's the truth. When a woman stops expressing, she's not at peace. She's giving up, not on you, but on the idea that you'll ever truly understand her. And that is how love dies these days. Not in flames, but in quiet rooms. Not with loud fights, but with unanswered questions. Not with a breakup text, but with slow, emotional distance wrapped in silence. So if you're watching this right now and something inside you just clicked, don't ignore it. Because today we're diving deep. We're going to uncover what her silence really means and how to break that emotional distance before it's too late. Today we'll dive into 6 secret tips to understand her silence, reconnect emotionally, and rebuild the trust she's too afraid to ask for. Let's go. Start. Number 1. She's silent because she's fighting a war inside herself. She doesn't talk because her mind is constantly at war, not with you, with herself. To the outside world, she looks like she's fine, maybe a little distant, a little quiet. But inside, there's a full-blown storm. And the scariest part is, she's been through this before. And she knows how it ends. That's why she's afraid to speak. She wants to be honest, to tell you when something feels off. But she remembers what happened the last time she opened up. Maybe you brushed it off, called her too sensitive, or replied with, "You're always complaining." Maybe her ex used her vulnerability against her. Or maybe her dad used to go silent when she cried, teaching her from a young age that emotions make people leave. So now, even when her heart is full of unsaid things, her mouth stays shut. She's constantly editing herself, even in her own head. She opens WhatsApp, types a message, stares at it, then deletes it. On Instagram, she scrolls past communication is key reels, while silently thinking, not for me, not anymore. She sees TikToks where girls say, never show a man your feelings. It makes you weak. And a part of her agrees now, because every time she tried to be real, she felt punished for it. Even when she wants to break down, she remembers that everyone's supposed to be low maintenance now, that if you cry or speak too much, you get ghosted. That's what this generation has taught her. In real life, she acts cool, posts a photo with a soft caption like, "Peace over pressure," but she's not at peace. She's at war. Inside her, one voice whispers, "Speak your truth, he deserves to know." The other shouts, "Stay quiet, or he'll think you're too much." That's silence. It's not strength. It's survival. And what makes it worse? She doesn't want to lose you, that's why she's so careful. That's why she picks silence over expression. Because she thinks that maybe, just maybe, if she doesn't make too much noise, you'll stay. But here's the truth. Silence is costing her more than words ever could. You see, when someone you love stops speaking, it doesn't mean they're done feeling. It means they're feeling too much to say it out loud. If you love her, don't wait for the breakdown. Pay attention to the silence. Listen to what she isn't saying. And most importantly, create a space where she doesn't have to fight a war just to be heard. Because the right question at the right time. What's hurting you that you're too scared to say can end a war you never knew she was fighting? Number 2. She's already been punished for being honest. There was a time she spoke her heart freely. She didn't think twice before saying, "That hurt me," or "I need more from you." But over time, honesty became a liability. Vulnerability, once her strength, turned into the very thing that broke her spirit. Not just from strangers or her past, maybe even from you. It didn't happen overnight. It started slowly. The first time she said, "I feel like I'm not a priority," you said she was overreacting. The second time she cried, you told her, "Why are you always so emotional?" Another time she opened up, you went silent, disconnected, walked away. That's all it took. A few moments of dismissal, and she learned. The truth pushes people away. Now, every time she wants to say something real, she remembers how badly it felt the last time. This is more common than we admit. In today's relationship culture, we preach communication is key, but we rarely create space for it. People post about wanting real love and deep conversations, but when those conversations actually happen, they get uncomfortable, defensive, distant. How many women have been called crazy for asking for clarity? How many times has a girl cried during a call, only to be hit with, "You're making this more than it is"? How many texts go unsent because she already knows the reply will feel colder than silence? Now look at her. She still feels things deeply, but when the pain rises to her throat, she swallows it. Not because it stopped hurting, but because she's trained herself to protect you from her honesty, even when it's killing her inside. Her TikTok feed is full of self-healing advice, spiritual quotes, and detached to protect your peace mantras. She double taps, saves them, and tries to live by them. Not because she doesn't want to talk, but because she believes if she does, she might lose what little closeness is left. This isn't strength, it's emotional self-censorship. It's knowing the truth might set you free, but it might also set fire to everything you built. And here's the heartbreaking part. She still wants to be heard. She just doesn't believe she can be. She needs to feel that her honesty won't be punished, that her feelings won't be turned into weapons or reasons to walk away. She doesn't need you to agree with every emotion. She just needs to feel safe enough to express them. So ask yourself, have you made it easy for her to be real with you? Or have you taught her to hide? Because if love doesn't make room for truth, then silence becomes the only way to survive it. Number 3. Her silence is the loudest cry for attention. She doesn't scream, She doesn't shout for your attention, but make no mistake, her silence is loud. You see, she's stopped fighting for your attention because she believes deep down that if you truly cared, you'd notice the distance before it became too obvious. In a world where constant messaging is a norm, silence should be a red flag, not just an absence of words. But somehow you've missed it. Maybe you've mistaken it for peace, or maybe you thought she just needed space. What you don't realize is that her silence is her final attempt to see if you care enough to bridge the gap she's been silently creating between you two. Think about it. How many times has she posted something like, "The most painful thing is when you're surrounded by people, but still feel completely alone." Or, "You don't have to text me every day, but once in a while would be nice." She shares these posts not because she wants to fish for attention, but because she's trying to make her feelings known in the only way that feels safe. She's trying to tell you that something isn't right, but instead of saying it directly, she waits for you to catch on. She wants to see if you're paying attention to what's not being said, not just what's on the surface. Think about the social media culture we live in. People post everything, the good, the bad, the trivial, the exaggerated. But she's different. She used to share everything with you and with the world. But now, her posts are fewer, her interactions colder. It's a reflection of how she feels on the inside. She's pulling back, hoping that you'll feel her absence. Her silence is not indifference. It's a cry for validation. It's her way of saying, "I'm still here, but I'm invisible to you. I need you to notice me, without me asking for it." She's not saying, "I'm fine." She's hoping you'll read between the lines and say, "I know you're not fine." She's waiting for the moment you'll ask, "How can I make it better?" And here's the painful truth. She's terrified that if she speaks up, it'll only push you further away. She's learned that speaking her truth sometimes leads to rejection. She's seen it before. When she's been honest about what's wrong, the response was dismissal or worse, apathy, a modern reference. Think of the countless TikTok videos and Instagram reels where women express this exact frustration. Why do I always have to be the one to speak up first? Why is it so hard to get someone to care enough to listen? The messages are everywhere because it's a common experience, feeling ignored, unseen, unheard, even when you're right in front of someone. The truth? Silence is her armor. She's built it to protect herself from rejection, from the possibility that her truth might not be met with empathy, but in her heart it's breaking. If you love her, don't wait for her to break. Don't wait for her to reach her breaking point before you start seeing the signs. When you love someone who's gone quiet, ask, what's really going on inside your heart? Ask, are you okay really? Because silence is not the absence of noise. It's the absence of hope, and it's your chance to restore it before it's too late. Number 4. She's training herself to feel less. When she first met you, she felt every emotion with a kind of intensity that made her feel alive in ways she had never known before. Every glance you shared made her heart race. Every conversation carried weight, depth, and meaning. Every touch was a promise, a connection that felt so real it almost hurt. But somewhere along the way, feeling so much became unbearable. The intensity of her love, her vulnerability, began to drown her. It wasn't all at once. It happened quietly, slowly, like a tide creeping in, until it covered every inch of her heart. She gave and gave and gave, and in return she was met with silence, indifference, and disappointment. Words left unsaid, actions left undone, empty promises. Each time she gave her heart only to feel it being ignored or taken for granted, a piece of her slowly died. So she learned to pull back. It wasn't something she wanted to do. She didn't choose to close herself off. But what choice did she have? She learned that when you give too much of yourself, people take. And if they don't take, they walk away. So now, she trains herself to feel less. When she looks at you, she doesn't let her heart race like it used to. She holds back. She catches herself before she becomes too vulnerable. She doesn't let herself feel the warmth of your touch, because she's afraid it won't last long enough to matter. She holds her breath before she says the words she once used to speak freely. I love you. She can't say them now without wondering if you'll dismiss them, or worse, take them for granted. She's learned to go through the motions, to smile when she's supposed to be present when you're near. But deep inside, she's not the same. The excitement she used to feel is now a quiet ache that she covers up, hoping it'll go unnoticed. She's numbing herself little by little to protect her heart. Her social media feed is filled with quotes like, I don't expect anyone to stay forever, but I hope someone stays long enough to make it feel worth it. Sometimes silence speaks louder than words. But she's not sharing these quotes for attention. She's sharing them because they reflect the very real pain she's trying to bury. She's training herself not to expect. She's training herself not to feel too much. Because every time she did, she ended up empty, alone, wounded. She tells herself, don't let them in. Don't care too much. Don't feel too deeply. But the truth is, it hurts her. It cuts deeper than you'll ever know, because she wants to love you like she used to, with every fiber of her being. She wants to give her heart without worrying it will be discarded. She wants to feel alive in love again, without wondering if she's just being too much. But every time she feels too deeply, she remembers the pain that came with it, the heartbreak, the emotional starvation, the times she was left waiting for a love that never came. So now, she holds herself back. She's not cold. She's not indifferent. She's just learned the hard way that feeling too much leaves you empty. And if you really love her, you won't let her teach herself to feel less. You'll give her a reason to feel everything again, safely, honestly, without fear. You'll show her that her vulnerability won't break her. It'll only make her stronger.
Number 5, she feels emotionally homeless. She doesn't feel safe anywhere anymore, not in her own body, where the weight of her own thoughts suffocates her every breath, not in the place that once felt like home, the comfort of your arms, where she used to surrender her heart without fear, not even in the quiet of her own mind, where once she could find peace. Now, every corner of her mind is filled with chaos, with doubt, with endless questions. It's a war within her, and there's no refuge. She feels emotionally homeless. At first, it was subtle. She thought it was just a phase, the distance, the withdrawal. But now it's undeniable. She can't escape the gnawing feeling that she doesn't belong anywhere. She's lost the sense of home that she once had. She's surrounded by people, likes, comments, followers, the illusion of connection. But in the quiet moments, when everything falls away, she feels like a ghost. She's here, but not really here. She's seen, but never truly looked at. It's like she's in a crowded room, and yet she's invisible. She's in a world full of voices, but no one is listening. The words she shares feel like echoes that disappear before anyone even hears them, and the silence that follows is deafening. She used to crave attention, validation, love, but now, even when it comes, it feels empty. It's not enough. It doesn't fill the hole inside her. It only reminds her of how much more she's missing. Her social media is a mirror to this loneliness. She posts photos, shares thoughts, writes captions, hoping for something to break through the emptiness. She gets the likes, she gets the comments, but it doesn't matter. In the moment that her phone goes quiet, when the notifications stop, the loneliness comes rushing back. It's suffocating because the more people like her posts, the more they comment, the deeper the isolation feels. She can't escape it. She's surrounded by people, but she's always alone. She thought that if she showed up, if she made herself visible enough, someone would see her. Someone would look past the surface and into the cracks where her real self is hiding. But no one does. No one really looks. People are so busy consuming the perfect versions of others, they forget the real people behind the screens. And the more she gives, the more she feels like she's giving to avoid. She doesn't want to be this way. She doesn't want to feel lost in a world where she's surrounded by voices, but can't find a single one that feels like home. She doesn't want to feel invisible. Not to you, not to anyone. She wants to be seen, truly seen. But every time she reaches out, every time she opens up, she gets met with emptiness. She feels like she's been exiled from her own life. She's been cast out from the world she used to know. There's no safe space left for her to rest her weary heart. No one to truly hold her and make her feel like she belongs. She's not asking for attention. She's asking to feel real, to feel seen, to feel heard. This is why her silence is so painful. It's not just the absence of words. It's the absence of connection. Her silence is not indifference. It's the only way she knows how to survive in a world that feels like it's rejecting her. It's the only way she knows how to protect herself from being hurt again. But here's the truth. She is craving a place to call home, a place where she doesn't feel like she's just passing through, a place where she can finally rest her heart and feel like she belongs, where her voice matters, where her presence means something. And if you truly love her, don't let her walk through this emotional wilderness alone. Don't let her continue to feel like an outsider in her own life. Show her that there's a place for her with you, where she can truly feel at home again. Number 6, she doesn't want to be too much. She just wants to be enough. At her core, all she really wants is to feel safe with you. Safe enough to speak the words she's been holding back, to say, I need you, I'm scared, I love you. Safe enough to let her walls down and show you her full self, not the polished version, but the messy, beautiful, broken one. The one that feels deeply, that fears deeply, that loves without restraint. She wants to feel that her heart is enough, that her voice matters, and that her emotions, no matter how big or small, will never be too much for you to handle. But somewhere along the way, she learned that her emotions are a burden. She learned that being too much would scare people away, that showing vulnerability would only lead to disappointment, that the more she cared, the more it pushed others to walk away. She learned this the hard way, from the dismissals, the cold shoulders, the people who couldn't handle her intensity and told her to quiet down, to calm down, to be normal. So now she holds back, not because she's okay, not because she doesn't have anything to say, but because she's terrified of being too much, terrified of pushing you away with her love, her tears, her needs, terrified that if she shows you all of her, you'll walk out the door, just like others have. She's learned to shrink herself, to silence the passions, the fears, the desires, because somewhere in her heart, she believes that if she's too much, she'll lose you. Her silence is not a sign of indifference. It's a shield. It's a way of telling herself, maybe if I hold back, maybe if I'm quieter, I won't be rejected. I won't scare them away. But it's breaking her inside. You see, she doesn't want to be too much. She just wants to be enough. She wants to believe that she can be everything she is, loud, soft, broken, passionate, messy, and still be loved, still be wanted, still be cherished. She spent so much of her life wondering if she's too much for the people she loves. She's worried that her need for affection, for connection, for honesty is a burden that others can't carry. She's afraid that her rawness will overwhelm them, or worse, make them see her as weak, as needy. So she holds it all in, hoping that one day she'll find the balance, that one day she'll find someone who doesn't just tolerate her, but embraces all of her emotions, all of her complexity. But here's the painful truth. She's scared that she's never going to be enough, and that fear is why she holds back, hoping you'll somehow love her enough to make her feel whole. She's afraid that the more she shows, the more she gives, the more you'll realize she's not what you need. That her love, her intensity, her imperfections will be too much to bear. And that fear keeps her silent. It keeps her distant, even when her heart aches to be close. So, what she really needs from you is simple. She needs to feel like she is enough. She needs to know that she doesn't have to hide pieces of herself in order to be loved. That her love is not a burden, but a gift. That her passion, her vulnerability, her rawness are not things that drive people away, but things that make her whole and worthy of love, just as she is. Because deep down, all she's ever wanted is to feel like she's enough for you, for herself.
Conclusion. In the end, what she truly desires is simple: to feel loved, accepted, and enough. She doesn't want to be too much. She simply wants to be enough. Enough to be heard. Enough to be seen. Enough for the person she loves to accept every part of her, even the broken, raw, and vulnerable pieces. She just wants to feel that being her full emotional self won't push people away, but will draw them closer. She wants the freedom to cry, laugh, express her fears, her joy, and everything in between without fearing rejection. But the world has taught her differently. Somewhere along the way, she was told that her emotions, her depth, her need for connection were burdens to be avoided. This has led her to shrink back, to hold in her feelings, and to silence the voice that once roared with honesty. It's not that she doesn't need love, it's that she's afraid of giving too much and being left alone in the end. She hides behind her silence, hoping that one day she'll find someone who'll love her, not in spite of her emotions, but because of them. She wants to feel safe enough to be herself fully, to know that she's enough just as she is, without having to pretend or suppress her true self. If you've connected with her story, remember that love is not about perfection. It's about acceptance. If you can relate to this, don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, and subscribe for more deep insights into love, connection, and the journey to self-acceptance. Let's create a space where we can all feel understood, seen, and loved for exactly who we are.